So that's the which will be weird because in YouTube I'm looking for where the music stops, and now there's no music. So that it's gonna be harder to find the cutoff point.
Yeah, it will be.
But
you know what I've done? I've in at work we do a Spanish language podcast now, and of course I don't speak Spanish, and neither does my editor. So we've had to find some creative ways to mark the videos more than just the audio, because he goes through it in super fast speed. And so I've created just a Gallup banner that I put up. So when it can be cut, I have the Gallup banner up on the screen. So it's just a static image. And when we come back to the editable stuff, then we go back to faces. So there is a visual cue there for my editor, so he knows, because and we're doing 2 shows at a time. So we're recording, show number 1, and then we're taking a 5-minute break, and then we're recording show number 2. But it's all on the same reel. So I don't want him wasting time listening to the middle part to find where the next show starts. So we created this visual cue. So that's another trick that you can deploy there. If you're using video and you got an editor and you want to know when you start and stop, you can change the screen to a standard image, whatever, to a picture, and that will tell you when you're starting and stopping.
We have a great question. Darwin's going to do these silicone wristbands. My question is, does anybody wear these anymore? Because personally,
I don't think so.
I don't. I'm going to say every time I get one, I'm like, oh, it's one of those, and I throw it on the desk or wherever.
Maybe some are. I don't.
I wear them at a conference. Like if I'm at a conference and somebody gives me one, I'll put it on and wear it around the conference. But the minute I get home, I'm like, it's odd because I'm trying to figure out why. And I know the original one was what? Not Neil Armstrong, Lance. Was it Lance?
Lance Armstrong. Yeah, Lance Armstrong.
And the first one, it was yellow, and everybody knew that was the whole Lance thing. And then everybody and I'm like, I'm not sure. I don't want to poo-poo on your idea. I'm just letting you know that if you gave me one, I probably wouldn't wear it.
We had a coach at Gallup create the 5. So your top 5 strengths. So you could buy one for each, and then wear them, and you could wear them at 1 or 2 at a time or whatever. And I haven't seen that take off in the community. As far as a lot of people like coffee mugs. Lots of people we sell a ton of, not these are Starbucks, but coffee mugs seem to work. You know what's been getting real popular? Socks. Branded socks. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but who sees them though? That's the whole thing.
That's the thing. Because funky socks or crazy socks or whatever they call them, wacky socks.
I guess in the summer, if you could see, because to me, I'm picturing my jeans are over my socks. You can't.
I know, but it's catching on. I've gotten several apparel. I was just at this Microsoft MVP summit last week, and I got 2 pair of Windows Insider socks.
Nice.
Yeah. They might even be, I wonder if they're...
And true, if somebody's going to give you money for it, hey, enjoy my socks.
I thought maybe I had them down here.
That's why.
But the other thing, the other thing is stickers, right? I mean, I've got these stickers from there, and I put them on stuff. And so the back of my, the back of my Surface, I end up putting stickers on the back of my Surface, right?
That's me. I got them on my iPad.
So I think stickers are really good. I mean, I think if you're a podcast and you're not doing stickers, that's a must. I did a set of stickers and then I haven't come back to them. I need to do them again. They're cheap. Give them away. So it's one of those things that it's an easy way to get in, and I think they're pretty inexpensive.
See, I was saying, I'm not sure I would wear a whatever those things are called, a silicone band. Roy's like, hey, that's a great idea. So
yeah.
And Kim got socks from AWeber. So there.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I've gotten 2 pair of StrengthsFinder socks that, from vendors that are making them for us, not for us, but, they're making them and selling them. And I thought too, but socks have gotten to be that fashion, that wacky, how wacky, because you can't see them all the time. People wear, crazy socks, and then, I don't know. I've seen more socks recently. And
Randy asked, did I wear a podcasting shirt last night? Of course I did. It was a choice. I was either going to wear a guitar shirt or, so I wore the one from, it's dark gray. I forget where it's from, Mapcom. I think it just says podcaster. That was one thing that was interesting, talking about community, on how your community will just interact with each other. So the concert gets done last night, and now you have this giant mob going to the one parking lot, and we're all just talking to each other. Like, hey, man, it was a great show, blah, blah, blah. And I go, and I just happen to look at the one guy, and I say, do you guys know that Graham Bonnet is, I said, I Googled it in the middle of the concert. That dude is 70 years old. I go, and he's singing his butt off. And he goes, yeah, he goes, what would have happened if he hadn't whipped his junk out on stage? And I go, what? And he goes, yeah, that's how he got fired back in the day. He was drunk and got a little
loosey-goosey.
A little loosey-goosey on the stage, and they fired him. I'm like, so, yeah, I went to a concert last night. Nobody's ever heard of this guy. His name's Michael Schenker, unless you're a guitar player. He was in a band called UFO. And when I was 13, my brother bought a album called, it's so good I can't remember the name of it. Something in the Night. Oh, it's going to drive me nuts. But it's like one of the best, like considered to be one of the best live CDs like ever. That's going to drive me nuts.
Randy thinks 70 is too old to wear leather pants.
Yeah, I did not do leather pants. No,
not you. The guys on the stage.
Oh, he was not. He was wearing jeans, and he always kind of comes out. It's weird. He had a long sleeve white shirt on and a tie, and then jeans. And I was kind of like, okay. And then I've always heard that he's very, very, he sings like literally from his toes. Like I'm pretty sure he did not need a microphone, because his mouth was like, I could see his tonsils, and he just belts it out. And I'm trying to find the name of that album now. It's going to drive me nuts. And apparently UFO has 27 million live CDs. This is one of those bands that just keep releasing the same 13 songs over and over and over. Okay,
hey, if it's working.
Hey, there we go. Strangers in the Night. Remastered in 2008. And this guy is just a phenomenal guitar player. And here's the cool thing about it. He has his own tone, and it's almost, I don't know if it was a mistake or not, but we've all heard about the wow, chicka, wah, wah, right in a wah wah pedal. All that does is when you put a wah wah pedal all the way to the back, it's like, it's all bass. And then when you put it down, it's all treble. And in the process, if you have like a really strong, knob on your toe knob on something, just do this and you'll hear a wah wah. And he happened to, for whatever reason, have his halfway through. So his guitar is very nasally sounding. And that's his sound. And I don't know if it was on purpose or not, but you hear his tone, and then you hear him play. And he's from Germany, and he's kind of got this weird classic. I told somebody, it's like heavy metal Bach. It's like, it's very, it was really cool. And the guy's 63, and that's the other lesson I learned, is he makes it look really easy. I came home and actually played a hole in my finger. You can see that's where a callus used to be. Yeah, he's 63. No, and here's the thing. If you're an old rock star and you're not making much money, all you have to do is wear ripped up jeans, and nobody knows if you're poor or not. Because that was the thing. Everybody was wearing like ripped up jeans. Like it looked like they were wearing two pairs of jeans, like a pair of jeans and then a ripped one over the other one. So it was like this weird two-tone blue black thing going on. But I actually at one point owned a pair of leather pants. They're not fun. They don't breathe well. And if you've ever seen the episode of Friends with Ross and his leather pants, that's straight up true. They're not easy to get off. And yeah, so, and they're hard to pull off. I found really
so many inappropriate things that we could be talking about there. So many. Oh my god.
Anyway,
no podcasters and leather pants.
But I will probably, I'll probably, because it's easier, that'll probably be this week's School of Podcasting, because there was a lot of lessons at that concert, and mainly because the one on t-shirts, I have to learn how to put up a TeePublic website. That's going to take time, and I have to go back and listen to 3 interviews now and pick out the gold, and that literally would probably take me all weekend. And I think I have some consulting going on this weekend and things like that. Nice. Randy says he once saw David Allen Cole and thought, man, glistening black jeans, only to find out that they were blue jeans with a lot of grease on them. Excellent.
Yikes.
The fun part of this band is there were 4 singers, and the last guy literally came out and he looked like Jack Black with a beard and a wig. And because you know how like Jack Black will like make fun of singers and he'll do all this gestures and this guy was doing it and he wasn't making fun of it. And I was like, and plus he had like the ultimate dad bod, and the other guys were actually in pretty good shape. But this guy was not, and he was the youngest guy on stage and he had the ultimate dad bod. And when you're like posed, it just didn't work.
No.
And then the other thing was his name was Doogie. His first name is Doogie. And I'm like, unless your last name is Hauser, I'm thinking get a new nickname. Because just heavy metal singer Doogie. I'm like, nah, that's
not so much. It's probably because he's branded, because we think of Doogie Howser when we think of it.
That's it.
And I'm not going to ask you to recreate this, but if you haven't seen Dave's intro or the kind of the teaser for Ask the Podcast Coach this morning, so the video he makes before we do Ask the Podcast Coach, go out and search it, because Dave does the 3 or 4 styles of singers that are available. It's really good. You need to go out, and I laughed out loud a lot. It was kind of what got me started this morning. I sat down. Oh, Dave's live. I go over there, watch him, and Dave is explaining the 3 or 4 different styles of singer. You do, Dave. You do a Mick Jagger better than anybody.
Well, Mick, number one, Mick has the finger. Like, watch the finger. I don't know what he's looking at, right? And then you have to do the clap, and then the chicken.
Yeah.
This is just like, so it's always,
and
then you get the lip going. So, and then you knock off your headphones.
Oh my God.
What I forgot was the Bono "Somebody Said My Name" move, which is where Bono's always got the weird thing where he's singing down at the microphone, right? But all of a sudden he'll be singing, and then all of a sudden he acts like somebody in the balcony called his name. So he'll be singing to the crowd, and all of a sudden he'll just go for no apparent reason. Like, what is that?
Oh,
I wish my name was Bono.
You wish you had Bono's money.
Yeah.
No, you don't want Bono's problems. As podcasters, I found my editor he's been watching me now for, I don't know, he's probably edited 400 or 500 videos of mine, and he goes, I can tell now when you're about to do something or almost even say something, or the way you're going to say it or how you're going to respond. I mean, he is, if you think about any listeners, any fans, like there's no bigger fan when we think about knowing what you do or your tells as your editor. Because and Emily just jumped in the chat room. She probably knows this as she started doing editing. You start to really hear you really start to hear those editing, or you do certain things.
Emily says, I still get uncomfortable thinking about Bowie and Mick Jagger dancing together. Yes, that ranks up there.
That's
with
dancing in the dark.
Really bad videos. I'm sorry, Jim. I just derailed you.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Keep going.
David Bowie, Mick Jagger, Dancing in the Street. Another one, my favorite, because they're singing angrily to a mannequin, is Chain Reaction by Journey. They're literally going, I bet you. And I'm like, and they're like right in the face of this mannequin. And I'm like, I'm just picturing like the director going, okay, guys gather around. Here's the storyboard. Okay, Steve, you're on the left side of the mannequin, and Neil, you're on the right side, and you're both singing angrily to the mannequin. Just like, and somebody's, oh yeah, this will be great. This will be a great video.
It's going to be great. A lot of those Journey videos out of the 80s were super interesting.
80s videos in general were just like let's have a white horse running through a Walmart that, it's just all these things like, wait, what did we just see? And then then all the stereotypes of, and then we'll have a mirror just break for no reason. And then,
well, we started literal, right? MTV started with literal videos, not the literal ones we have today, but the literal videos where for most bands, it was either live or it was a literal interpretation of what the song was supposed to be. Then everybody started getting super creative with them. And then everybody went super abstract with them. And then it was a competition to see who could have the weirdest video out, right? And then it kind of came back around, and then MTV disappeared. And it was over. I mean, it was just, I remember the day when it was like, oh, we're not playing videos on MTV anymore?
Yeah. It's like what's the M stand for?
When did that
maybe
go
not
away?
Yeah.
And so it's funny, like, music videos don't work today. And like, why is that? When we were growing up, the music video was a huge part of the genre. I think as podcasters, we should kind of think about this. Like, why did they disappear? Like, why they just became irrelevant? It's not like it's like people couldn't stop making them. It's like it wasn't like we had there was anti music video movements going on around the world.
That's a good question.
But why did they stopped being relevant? Now, some of them are still being made, but think about it, Dave. In the late 80s, if you were a band and you had a new song, you had to have a music video too.
I remember when Metallica finally broke down and made a video, because it was like they were at first were like, we're not making one. That was kind of like, you probably should make one. And then now it's weird. Stryper just came out with, or is coming out with, a new album. Judas Priest. Here's something sad, and then we will go back to videos because it's a good topic. Talking about old rock stars. Glenn Tipton is the guitar player of Judas Priest, is not touring this year because he has Parkinson's. And I was like, oh, this sucks when your rock stars are getting old. But they have a new video. Stryper has a new video. And what the thing I'm seeing now on YouTube, because that's the reason they make them. They throw them on YouTube and hope that people share them. But I'm seeing more of this. It's the official lyric video.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? And it's literally the song. And it's like, it's on their channel. And
Just
it's like,
lyrics. Yeah.
just lyrics. And I'm like, the official lyric video. And I'm like, because I want to see, which is great. If you're an old aging rock star, you just make a lyric video and nobody can tell that, you're old. But
well, I think the chat room is right. I think it's moving. It's on YouTube. Certainly bands are making, Taylor Swift is making music videos for all the songs that are popular. But maybe it's just decentralized in the sense that we don't have a channel anymore. It's all being distributed out through YouTube. But it doesn't. The music videos don't seem to hold the value. They were the pinnacle. You made it big, then you made a music video. And maybe music videos are just a part of the genre now, where it's like, no, it's just expected. You're going to create a few videos and call them, that's what you're going to do. It seemed like in the 80s and early 90s, that was the pinnacle of the music experience, was your music video.
Well, my favorite was just you'd go into a record store and they'd have like a whole MTV section, and I know there used to be a niche radio station in where I live, and it was called Z-Rock, and it was like heavy metal. It wasn't Bon Jovi. It was Manowar. It was Slayer. It was like, and it was, you'd turn it on, you're like, holy cow. And it got so popular that they had a section in music stores, like, here's your heavy metal thing. And again, all of a sudden one day it just went away. It was like, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know if there's, I don't know. I know there's no like local, like, hey, it's Friday night videos with, Jim from the local, Channel 8 thing.
No. It seems to have just lost it's there. Maybe it just it's blended in with the, Randy is saying the digital music distribution has changed, right? The whole business model is different now. And so artists are, the money is in the merch, not in the, $35
t-shirt. I didn't buy one. I'm like, not for $35. I'm not.
Or arenas being filled at $97 tickets.
Yeah.
Like who was coming to town? Bieber was coming to town, I think. And folks, I don't know why, but they were trying to get Justin Bieber tickets. And the cheap ones were like $95. And I was like, are you freaking kidding me? I mean,
another great guitar player, his name's Joe Bonamassa. That I like, but every time he comes to town, is like his cheapest tickets are $80.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
and they're getting it. They're getting it. That's the thing. They're getting it.
Yeah,
And
the thing, and that's the reason why I went last night, is $20. I'm like, wait, the tickets are $20. I'm like, I cannot pass that up. So that was amazing. So, but yeah, the money is live. Well, and they've, as much as I go, I'm not buying a $35 t-shirt. These guys have to eat. And I'm not paying for their music anymore. I'll listen to it on Spotify, and you can enjoy the 0.0002 cents I made you today by listening to 4 songs. But they've got to eat, and what's the other thing that's weird is that's kind of hurting ticket sales. I would think is I literally could watch that whole concert on YouTube from somebody, just sitting there in the front row. It doesn't sound as good. That's the other thing I thought was amazing. but that has to, I would think if I can watch your concert on YouTube and all I want to do is see you and see what you sound like, I'm amazed at the audio, because in theory, I don't know what the decibel level was, but this should be nothing but distorted nonsense.
Right.
And I took some video last night and I was amazed. I'm like, I'm listening to it on the way home and I'm like, wait a minute, this isn't that horrible.
Well, it's an iPhone.
It's an iPhone. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's post-processing that goes on now. The chips are so powerful. There's some post-processing that goes on through the microphone as it's being recorded, which is super helpful. They do that so that, because they know a lot of people are recording these things or using on conference calls or whatever. And so the microphone has to be adaptive. And so there is some post-processing that's going on, pre-processing, I guess you could say, on those phones. So some of that it'll adapt for it as you're listening to it. I'm amazed at what I get out of these phones when I have people, when I'm just doing live calls with them and they're just holding that thing up in front of their face or whatever, or the recordings that they're doing, it's nuts what you can do on those things. It's great.
I hate when you're on your iPhone and all of a sudden it's decided to rearrange your photos in a way that you're like, I just wanted to see the latest one. And
that part is messy.
Yeah. Because
Joe Taylor says, used to be that concerts were the loss leaders to support the album. Now it's the other way around. Yeah, it is. I make it, Dave, as we think about, in podcasting, as we think about I don't think a lot of podcasters think about having a loss leader. Like, what is super important, right? What is that thing that you're putting out there that's hooking your customer, and you're not charging a lot for it, but it's bringing them in. And what's that piece? I think we've got to think along those lines of that standard kind of marketing. In what are you getting out there? What are you giving away?
Can you hear me now still?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if you're going to be able to hear this. Oh, we'll see. Can you hear? Actually, you know what? Now that I listen to it through headphones, that's horrible. It sounded much better in the car. I mean, I expected this.
Well, you're going off speakers into a microphone, That just may be bad singing.
Well, that's the interesting part. That guy just hit that high note, and if I were to let this play in a minute, he goes for it and does not hit it at all.
The second time.
Let me see if you know what, that's another chorus. Never mind. That sounded so much better in my car. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But
you've got that directly plugged in.
Yeah. That's if it was through the thing.
It wasn't too bad for live.
Well, it's live. That's the thing. The bass is always just a muddy mess.
Yeah. You can't get that.
I got to get to the fun part where he just can you see him at all?
Yeah.
The guy just he sings.
Love the guitar player.
Yeah, that's the guy with
the dad bod.
Yeah. No, that's another guy. I'll show you a picture of him. Here we go. Here he's gonna blow it. Yeah, that was not good. And the dad bod guy, he came out with tell me that doesn't look like a Jack Black character.
Oh yeah.
I was like, and it's blurry, and because I had to zoom in 800 times, but I was like, that's not going to work.
Yeah, it looks like you're pretty close.
I was going to go on the floor, and because I'm not super tall, but I'm not short. And I just thought, you know what? I'm losing about 10 feet here, but I'm on a platform and I'm now looking them in the eye. And I'm like, I'm just going to stand here next to my drunk friend. So.
Yeah.
Literally, he was just like, and he kept trying to talk to me. And I'm like, I don't know if you realize this or not. I'm watching a concert right now. If you could not bug me with your don't bogart if the joint comes, don't bogart. I'm like, I'm not going to bogart the joint.
What does that even mean?
That means you don't pass it.
Oh, you keep it?
Yeah. And then he even looked at me, and it's not, I could care less if you do. I've never gotten high. I just never have. And he's like, well, you're old. You probably smoke. And I'm like, no, actually I don't. And he's like, what? And like, no, you got to smoke the doob. And oh, geez. Dude, it's not 77 anymore.
Free bird.
Yeah. No free bird.
Any mosh pit going on? Randy
no mosh pit. I've never, where was I at that there was a mosh pit?
Yeah, you got to go to a young kids concert for that. That's not happening with a bunch of old guys.
My niece used to take me to Cookie Monster Rock, is what I would call it. And it was always weird because there'd have one guy who was literally like, and there'd be people, and then they'd have, I remember the one, like the guy's literally like, and then they had a drummer, he'd be like, yeah. And I'm like, why don't you just let that guy sing everything? Cookie, cookie. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And I'm looking at her and she's just all in. But they had a little mosh pit thingy going on. I'm like, that's why we're sitting up here in the balcony.
That's awesome. Cookie Monster Rock.
Oh, I couldn't take it. And it was all like, she really wanted to go, taking your kids. So me and my brother be sitting there going, we're just feeling old, I remember my dad coming in and telling me, you can't whistle Ted Nugent. I'm like, what? He's like, how are you supposed to whistle this? That was my dad's, like, if you could whistle it, it was a good song. And I'm like, yeah, I guess you can't really whistle Cat Scratch Fever. You could try. It'd be a little different.
Really whistle it. I keep trying to bring this thing back to podcasting, and
yes, I'm sorry.
You're not having it today. You are not.
I'm stuck in the concert still. I'm sorry, buddy.
No, you're fine. Just so folks know, when they're listening to the post show and they're like,
yeah,
that was 30 minutes of nothing to do with podcasting. I just want to say I've tried a couple times to bring it back, and Dave will not come back with me.
But that I did the whole Mick Jagger thing. And I'm like, oh, now I have to upload the video.
I did. Yes. I did tease that. So that's my fault that I brought up the Mick Jagger thing.
Oh, and I forgot to say, for the back to podcasting, the guy that was going to do the creative Christian dad thing.
Yeah.
Here is what I've noticed about it. And I feel like Jerry Seinfeld. Like, I can tell a Jew joke because I'm a Jew guy. I can bash Christians because I go to church. Please do not ask for money in the first 2 minutes of your show. Oh, that drives me bonkers. Like, every show, it's like, welcome to, the Oakwood, trying to think of Oakwood River, Baptist Church, blah, blah, blah. And like, literally, before we get to Pastor Bob, buy the Oakwood Baptist River Church handkerchief. Yours for only $17.90. I'm like, oh, really? Like, not even going to give me any kind of value. And just, I would not do that. And then I had, I listened to another show this week. And again, feel free to talk. And we talked about being authentic. This was this woman being very authentic, but everything was like praise be to God. Like, isn't it great how God made this pen and the ink so that I can write on this? It's amazing. And, God made the paper and I'm like, everything. I was like, okay, I got it, praise, but it's like, everything was the Lord. And I'm like, you're going to probably run some people the wrong way when
but maybe you'll attract those who like it.
Yeah. I'm going to say, and that's that's her being authentic.
Be authentic.
And there's going to be somebody on that other end that's like, you preach on, sister. That's right. And because I have a cousin that is that way, and that's fine. And that's her being.
I watch this guy on YouTube who does bees, down in Louisiana.
Yeah.
And everything is a miracle. And, when he captures the queen, it's praise Jesus for, thank you. Yeah. And it's his shtick. It's who he is. I applaud him for being authentic. At first it was a little weird, but I'm like, he creates great content. I love watching the guy. So be yourself, right? In that, it may limit things. It may not. I mean, it may be the right thing to do and attract people to what you're doing, but you got to go with it. You got to go with it.
That's the key, and that really is the key. By being authentic, you draw people like you to your show, and the people that aren't like you, that don't like that, aren't going to listen. That's the beautiful thing of it. I don't think there's much spam in podcasting because it's way too easy to not listen. And the other thing is, have I told you of the story at MapCon where I asked about how do white people not look like idiots in front of black people?
No.
All right. I'm at MapCon and this woman's doing and again, right now I can even say, is it African-American? Is it black? I'm not sure which one is the right one. So for now, I'm going to say black. And she's talking about black issues and people of color. And I said, I'm nervous even asking this question. I said, which means it's probably a really good question. And I said, I am not a racist. I grew up in a white neighborhood because that's where my parents lived. And I said, I had one African-American student in my school. She sat next to me, which makes me sound like a racist because I'm saying I know a black person, and I understand that.
Yeah.
I said, but I said, on the other hand, it's not that I'm a racist. I said, but if you say anything wrong these days, you're pinned as a racist. I said, so what are white people saying besides, hey, I know a black person, so I'm not racist? I said, what else are they saying that maybe we're not aware of? And so she kind of tried to answer my question. And I had this other black woman come up to me afterwards and said, you know, honey, I really liked your question. And I go, well, thank you. And she goes, and here's why. And I go, why? She goes, because you were talking from your heart. And she goes, and people, she goes, don't worry about it. She goes, because for the record, she goes, we can't even figure that out. She goes, so you just keep asking your questions and saying what you're saying. And she goes, and people can tell your heart. And I think that's really what you were talking about is when you're authentic, it just comes across and it's not annoying. It's just somebody being themselves. And that's so.
And if you're on YouTube any length of time, you'll find out your authenticness will get blasted. So you just got to survive through it. And if you try to podcast in a world or be on YouTube in a world where people aren't going to disagree, just quit, because it's brutal out there. I mean, it is brutal. So be authentic, find those that like you, focus on them. Don't sweat the other ones. In fact, shut them out. I don't let anyone post on my sites unless I've approved it. That's just silly to leave open comments allowed, especially on Facebook. That's just silly, guys. It's silly. Don't do it. It's not worth it. You should be the ones to see it. If they're good, approve them. If they are bad and you still want that kind of conversation, let it through, right? Let it through. But there are people who don't deserve the time of day on YouTube that you just need to block or you just need to delete. They're not good humans and do that. Do not fall into that trap.
I've heard more of that on YouTube than I have on a website.
YouTube is awful.
YouTube is just
the worst. It's just, it's all the bad things about humanity. It is literally the cesspool of humanity in the comments. It's just not right, and it's gotten out of control, and it's stupid. And so you shouldn't, as a podcaster, you should control the content on your site. That's not a restriction of free speech. That is what you should do. So there you go.
It goes back. It's your brand.
Yeah. It's just, we need curated spaces. Humans cannot be trusted. That we just can't. And I don't know what's wrong with us in that. And I think it's always been that way, but we just cannot be trusted. We need curation. And so don't allow that stuff in your space. It's just not worth it.
Yeah. So, all right, we're running over.
Okay. Sounds good. You got any big plans for the day?
I have to figure out what I'm doing for Monday show. Whatever it is, it's going to take a lot of time. Plus I have School of Podcasting office hours today, I believe, and some other things on my calendar. So I need to double check. I know I've got stuff tomorrow, so it's just a matter of figuring out what it is and where am I going to squeeze in my podcast. So.
I gotta produce mine too and get a workout in. So I got to figure out what's the thing
I got to do.
I know I got to get down to the fitness center. So, all right, man. Have a good weekend. Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Don't drink too much if you're doing that.
No, I don't have any in the fridge. We'll see you.